How debt became more powerful than the sword? For thousands of years, empires rose and fell by the sword. Kings expanded borders with armored armies, generals commanded legions, and history was written in blood. Yet today something far more silent rules the world. Something with no armies, no borders, and no physical form. It can overthrow governments without a single shot fired, topple currencies without a single soldier marching, and reshape entire civilizations with nothing but numbers on a ledger. The mystery is this: how did Detan idea become more powerful than weapons that once controlled the world? And more importantly, who truly commands this invisible empire? Stay with me. The real story hides in forgotten history, shadow banking systems, and a global financial game most people still don't realize they're playing. The ingredients of a new kind of power. To understand how debt surpassed the sword, we need to go back not to the 20th century, but thousands of years earlier. Picture ancient Mesopotamia, around 2400 BC. Kings ruled by force, but the first cracks appeared. Farmers fell behind on grain loans. Merchants borrowed silver for trade caravans. Temples kept clay tablets recording who owed what. Already, rulers were learning something shocking. Controlling people through debt was cheaper than controlling them through war. Armies cost money. Swords rusted. Fortresses crumbled. But debt. Debt generated loyalty, dependence, and predictable income. Still, it wasn't yet more powerful than the sword. Not yet. That transformation required 3 revolutions. 1. Money becoming abstract. 2. States turning borrowing into a weapon. 3. Bankers learning they could influence governments. These changes didn't happen overnight. They unfolded step by step, each with consequences nobody fully understood at the time. When borrowing became a tool of nations, fast forward to the late Middle Ages. Kings had a problem. Wars were getting more expensive, and treasury chests weren't keeping up. So they turned to a rising class, the merchant bankers of Italy. The Medici, the Fuggers, and others realized something revolutionary. If kings needed money, lenders could shape kings' decisions. Give a king credit gives control the king. To control the king gives influence war outcomes, trade routes, even royal marriages. This is the moment when the sword quietly began losing its monopoly on power. By the 1600s, a new system emerged, something we still live under today: the national debt. The Dutch and the English perfected it. Sell bonds to the public, fund a navy larger than any kingdom's treasury. Use debt to conquer territory and trade markets. Debt turned into a war machine. The sword was still visible, but debt was the hand guiding it. Rise of debt power. The weaponization of credit. The 18th and 19th centuries pushed this to new extremes. 1. The British Empire. Britain didn't conquer the world with soldiers alone. It conquered it with bonds. Investors financed the Royal Navy. Those ships secured trade routes. Trade routes brought wealth. Wealth repaid the bonds. The cycle repeated bigger and bigger. By the 1800s, global dominance was built not by swords, but by borrowing. 2. American industrial power across the Atlantic. The U.S. used debt to build railroads, factories, telegraph lines, steel empires. The Morgan and Rockefeller families learned the real secret: if you control credit, you control growth itself. Then came 1913, the birth of the Federal Reserve. A central bank with the power to create debt out of nothing. A quiet shift that changed everything. When debt became more dangerous than war, debt had now become a global tool. But tools, when scaled, become weapons. The 1929 crash, the global financial system seized when credit collapsed. No armies invaded, no empires attacked, yet tens of millions suffered. A debt crisis brought the world to its knees. The 1971 turning point. Then came the moment that unleashed the modern debt era. The U.S. ended the gold standard. For the first time in human history, major currencies were backed by nothing but trust and the ability to issue unlimited debt. This wasn't just a change in finance. It was the official declaration: debt now ruled the world. Debt quietly took over everything. In the last 50 years, something unprecedented happened. Global debt exploded from $1 trillion to over $300 trillion. Every major government runs on perpetual borrowing. Corporations leverage debt to crush competitors and buy power. Banks generate money through loans, literally creating currency as debt. Individuals use credit to survive daily life. You don't need a sword to control a population. You just need a mortgage, a student loan, a credit card, a government bond, a currency backed by nothing but trust and obligation. A debt became the new battlefield and everyone is drafted. Why no one can escape? Leaders have tried to escape this trap. Some tried printing money, some tried austerity, some tried borrowing even more, some tried revolution. None worked, because the system depends on constant growth. If debt stops growing, gives economies collapse. If debt grows too fast, gives currencies collapse. It's a perfect paradox. One even ancient kings never imagined. The invisible empire running today's world. Look at today. 1. The US and China, the world's two biggest powers, are locked not in a military war, but a credit war. China holds American bonds. The US controls the global dollar system. Each depends on the other's debt to survive too. Developing countries. Nations across Africa, Asia, and Latin America pay more to creditors than they spend on hospitals or education. Debt, not soldiers, dictates policy. 3. Individuals' average global household debt has reached historic highs. People don't make decisions freely, they make them around monthly payments. Debt has quietly replaced the sword as the primary tool of control. A shocking modern statistic. Today, 93% of all money in circulation is actually debt created by banks through loans, not coins, not notes. Debt, money itself, is debt. That means power belongs to whoever controls credit, not armies. Patterns that keep repeating every civilization eventually reaches the same point. Debt grows faster than income. Debt becomes essential to maintain power. Debt overwhelms the system. Collapse or reset follows ancient Sumer, Rome, the British Empire. The early US industrial system, today's global economy. The pattern is identical. Debt rises, debt empowers, debt enslaves, debt implodes. The sword ends lives. Debt controls them. 3 key takeaways. 1. Debt is the foundation of modern power. Nations don't rule through force, they rule through credit systems that bind economies together. 2. Debt grows until it becomes unmanageable. Every empire eventually finds that its debt burden becomes its greatest enemy. 3. Those who understand debt, not weapons, shape history. Bankers, central banks, and credit markets influence world events more than armies. Every era believes it can manage its growing debt right up until the moment it can't. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes loudly. And today, global debt is growing faster than at any point in history. The question now isn't whether debt is powerful. It's whether we've let it become too powerful. If you want deeper videos on the hidden forces shaping money, power, and history, subscribe, hit the bell, and stay curious. There's much more beneath the surface, and together, we'll uncover it.